The Indianapolis Colts have had one of the more underrated off seasons in the entire NFL, and today they really just took the next step, as if you ask me, it looks like they have officially completed their defense. Now, before we get to the content, today I'm going to be announcing a giveaway winner for $500 for any subscriber that turns on my notifications for this channel. Make sure you check out our latest video on Flight Mike TV. We did a video on Elon Musk, and now that we get all that out of the way, break! Mic check 1 2 1 2. What's going on, everybody? It's really funny to say that the Indianapolis Colts had one of the most underrated off seasons in the NFL, mainly because if this was any other normal off season, we would easily say that this was the greatest turnaround for any team in the NFL. But in an off season where we saw the Denver Broncos trade for Russell Wilson and of course get significantly better, then you had the Los Angeles Chargers trading for Khalil Mack and signing JC Jackson and adding Sebastian Joseph Day while re-signing Mike Williams. You had the Miami Dolphins trading for Tyreek Hill. You had the Kansas City Chiefs getting significant draft compensation in return for trading Tyreek Hill. And then you had the Las Vegas Raiders, who signed Chandler Jones and then traded significant draft capital to the Green Bay Packers for Devontae Adams. The Las Vegas Raiders made another move this offseason. They signed Chandler Jones and traded Yannick Ngakoue to the Indianapolis Colts. And this is where the story of an underrated offseason begins, because the Indianapolis Colts have quietly added Yannick Ngakoue, traded for Matt Ryan, which in my opinion is a significant improvement over Carson Wentz. Bear in mind, you have a quarterback that has proven time and time again that he is capable of taking care of the football, who won't necessarily let you down in crucial situations. Of course, everyone's going to mention the 28-3 lead against the New England Patriots, but ever since then, Matt Ryan hasn't necessarily had as good of a supporting cast. And this is the first time that I could say with confidence that Matt Ryan does. And it seems like the Indianapolis Colts have officially put the icing on the cake today, because according to Ian Rappaport and Josina Anderson, first reported by Josina Anderson saying that Stephon Gilmore just texted me saying that he is signing with the Indianapolis Colts. Then later on, we got the same exact report from none other than Ian Rappaport, saying that former NFL Defensive Player of the Year and 5-time Pro Bowl cornerback Stephon Gilmore is signing with the Indianapolis Colts in a 2-year deal. The former Patriots and Panthers star was on a visit this week and now lands in Indianapolis. Make no mistake about it, because again, I understand that adding Matt Ryan and trading for Yannick Ngakoue and signing Stephon Gilmore doesn't necessarily even crack the top 5 list of the greatest moves that were made this offseason. But make no mistake about it, if you look at this Indianapolis Colts team, you can say with absolute confidence that they are contenders. I mean, looking at the offense, you have Jonathan Taylor, you have Matt Ryan. The wide receiver core could use a little bit more depth, whether they do that by trying to bring back Julio Jones to team up with Matt Ryan, or they decide to use a draft pick later on in the NFL draft, is a different conversation. But if you look at the Indianapolis Colts defense, that's where they begin to really shine. The Indianapolis Colts defense will now include DeForest Buckner, Darius Leonard, Kenny Moore paired with Stephon Gilmore, with 2 young talented pass rushers in Kwity Paye and Dayo Odeyingbo. I definitely butchered Dayo's name, so my bad. But when you consider the fact that the Indianapolis Colts were able to trade Rock Ya-Sin, which no offense to Rock Ya-Sin, I've never heard of him prior to this offseason, for Yannick Ngakoue, a proven edge rusher and former Pro Bowler that honestly should not be switching teams as much as he has been recently. And then you replace Rock Ya-Sin with Stephon Gilmore, which I know some people are saying, hey Mike, he might be a little too old. How productive is Stephon Gilmore still? He is still pretty damn good. I mean, for the Carolina Panthers, he performed remarkably last year. He's definitely increased his value over 2020, which wasn't as good of a year for him. So as a result, the Indianapolis Colts are giving him a 2-year, $23 million contract. So this is without a doubt going to give Trevor Lawrence, Ryan Tannehill, and Davis Mills a little bit of trouble whenever these teams face off against one another 2 times a year. But needless to say, I think it's time for Indianapolis Colts fans to truly appreciate the offseason that they've had. Trading Carson Wentz, obviously you weren't able to recoup the exact value that you gave up for Carson Wentz, but you're able to recoup some with multiple third-round picks, with one of the third-round picks potentially turning into a second-round pick, depending on the Washington Commanders hitting the contingency in the trade, and then trading for Yannick Ngakoue, signing Stephon Gilmore, and then trading for Matt Ryan is a remarkable offseason. And honestly, I don't think the Indianapolis Colts are done. I still think that there's still ways for them to improve, whether it's in a very deep NFL draft that is deep in positions where they need improvement upon, or if it's Matt Ryan calling up his old buddy Julio Jones to potentially reunite with one another in Indianapolis. I think this is the strongest that the Indianapolis Colts have been, at least on paper, since the Andrew Luck era, and I think they deserve major credit for the improvements they made to the team. Let me know in the comment section down below if you're an Indianapolis Colts fan. How do you feel about your team's offseason? I honestly would put it up there as a top 5 offseason. It's just very hard because it's getting overshadowed by other offseasons that have just been more headline grabbing, and then of course with the recent drama with Deebo Samuel and Kyler Murray, which Kyler Murray, we made a video late last night and posted it. It takes more of the shine away from a tremendous offseason that the team has been having. Aside from that, I'm your boy Mike, and I'm dropping our mic until our next upload.